Welcome back, everyone. Today's day 4. So yesterday I had you write down your limiting beliefs and their origin story. Were there any surprises that came up for you? If you'd like to put that in the chat, that'd be lovely. So one of the things that comes up with limiting beliefs is oftentimes, sorry, futzing around with my screen here. It's messing me up. Oftentimes what comes up with the limiting beliefs is that, and then someone commented on it, they're just worries. They're not actual beliefs. And then it's easy, and depending on where they're coming from, if it's not really anything that significant, it just the awareness of it, it just dissolves. It's the coolest thing. That's why it's worth doing the exercise. All right. Okay, so no one had any surprises come up. All right, so with past events like miscarriages or failed fertility treatments, it's the stories that you tell in your mind that creates the beliefs around them. So yes, there's acknowledgement of the actual events, but what the signature of it that keeps going on, that keeps recurring, are the stories around them. And so the more they occur in terms of the losses or the failed treatments or whatever it is, the more likely you're going to start thinking that there's something wrong with your body, with your eggs, your ovaries, or it won't be successful in the future. And so that becomes your story and your assumption. Not everyone looks at it the same way. So don't assume that just because this is what happened in your past, that is what's going to happen in the future. And thank you for yesterday's participant for the great quote, "Don't let the wake drive the boat" by Wayne Dyer. And that's absolutely true. The perspective is to give yourself a blank slate each time. And and an example of that is I'm terrible at throwing darts. I mean, it just most of the times I'll be happy if it makes it on the board. I mean, I don't, and then if it does make it on the board, it's just kind of all over the place. I don't make it most times, but it doesn't mean that I stop trying. And then each time I do throw a dart, I'm still aiming for the target because just maybe one day I'll actually hit it, bullseye. So it's the same for you. You don't bring the past in if it's not of any benefit to you into the future. Into the present, which affects the future. So whatever expectation you bring in is going to most likely be the outcome. And that's really the purpose of identifying these thoughts, these limiting thoughts that are often a result of direct experience. So it's not the direct experience. Again, it goes back to what I said on the first day about thoughts and beliefs. The experience itself, it's neutral. It's whatever story that you've created around it, whatever the narrative is. And that's what you want to release and identify. And because you're using that story to justify where you are, to argue for your limitations, basically. And so just to really be able to separate yourself back from it. So today is going to be more of a mini workshop, I guess. I'm going to be putting you to work today. You're going to be transforming your limiting beliefs into positive affirmations that support your goal. Positive affirmations are statements that reinforce your intentions, even if your beliefs don't quite match up with your desires yet. And that's totally fine. That's the whole purpose of the affirmations, is to get you more harmonious, in harmony with them and more alignment with them. So the positive affirmations work by reprogramming your subconscious beliefs. They're basically going to help upgrade the software that's in here by installing new beliefs. When you rewrite your limiting thoughts as if it's like computer code into affirmations that support your journey, you write them so that they're a little bit out of your comfort zone, but still within the realm of believability for you. So you want to find that line of stretching yourself, but not so much that your logical mind is going to completely shut it down as impossible and just kind of call it a load of BS. And so the way that I'm going to teach you how to structure it is so that there's more flexibility in that. There isn't the identification of I am this. I'm going to use like manifesting money as an example because it'll help to clarify what I mean better about like stretching yourself. So if you're making like $50,000 a year, most people won't believe that $1 million is achievable. And manifesting $1 million is going to happen, at least not easily or legally. So that affirmation of manifesting $1 million is just completely useless. It's a waste of energy. It's just like a pie in the sky kind of thing. It just isn't going to happen because it's just too far out of the realm of possibility for them. For someone who's making $50,000, something that's more manageable for them, but still uncomfortable might be 150 or 200, something. And then once they accept that, let's say it's 150,000. Once they accept that belief of 150,000 that they can make the 150, then they move up. Then they move their thermostat higher because we all have internal thermostats, and what the affirmations do is to reset them so that you get to push them up a little bit higher and a little bit higher each time. You just can't crank it up too high because it's just your nervous system can't hold it. It just isn't within the realm of belief. It's utterly beyond it. So hopefully you have your list of limiting beliefs in front of you. If you don't, quickly jot down some limiting thoughts that you have about your baby journey. If you'd like to share them in the chat, please do so, because that can really help others uncover some of their subconscious ones that they may not even be aware of, but it's there because I can promise you that many of you have very overlapping limiting thoughts and beliefs. So if you'd be generous enough to share yours, I think that would really help a lot of other people as well. So I'm going to give you a minute to do that while I check on the chats. The belief that I am too old was from my fertility naturopath because she is the expert. It is hard to get rid of this belief. So the thing about the experts is that we all have our different experiences, and those experiences forms our perspective, the lens that we look through. And you want to take everything that you say with a grain of salt, basically. And so, and this is, what I say constantly, you just take and I say this about myself, not everything that I'm going to say will resonate with you. You just take what resonates at that time and run with it. And the stuff that doesn't ring true for you, you just leave it. And it's the same thing with the so-called experts, the doctors, this fertility naturopath. Even if they're fertility experts, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't agree with you, you get another opinion, or you just completely shove it to the side. Again, going back to the buffet table analogy, right? The stuff that the information that you get exposed to, they're just all laid out on the table. You get to pick and choose what you want to pile your plate high with. And that's completely up to you. And that's choice, and that's free will. So, okay, I'm going to read some of the limiting beliefs. I only have 9 embryos left. What if the rest of them won't work? The belief that I am too old and scar tissue in my uterus will not let me carry a baby. I believe that my body can't get pregnant or maintain a pregnancy on its own, that I need medications or IVF. That I need a good or high number of follicles, eggs, embryos for IVF to work. You only need 1 embryo. And if you go to my website, mybabyafter40.com, 40, the number 40.com, if you listen to Carolina, she kind of tells her story. And she's a very prime example. Like one of the first things that I told her that she just really took to heart, and this is what I mean about you take what resonates for you, and I think this must have been at our first meeting, and she remembered it and still remembered it to this day, is that I told her you only need 1 good egg and 1 good embryo. And that's what she held on to, and that's what kept her going. So you have to be very selective about what you choose to input into your computer system here in your software. Okay, well, let's see. I can't have a baby with my own eggs because I'm 43 and likely have endometriosis, so my egg quality is no good. All right, so thank you all for sharing. And then let's move on. Just as a side note, endometriosis has nothing to do with equality. Right there, you've made a link that has no basis. So you can completely sever that. Endometriosis is about the uterine lining. It's about the tissue. It has nothing to do with equality, the ovaries. It's about uterus. Ta-da! You're welcome. Okay, so what I want you to do, okay, so I'm going to have you, if you have any more limiting beliefs, please feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, so there is a structure that I'd like for you to follow. And I'm going to acknowledge Quasi Joe here, who is on YouTube and does a lot of amazing videos. He's more business oriented, but he's definitely into reality creation as well. And so he has a innovative approach to creating affirmations that I'm going to share with you. And so number one is you want to write your affirmations in the third person, not in the I am first person. So the reason is because the phrase I am, and for those of you who are have been in, on the spiritual journey for a while or meditate, you may know this already. The phrase I am has a very important spiritual meaning. I am is that greater part of you that lives in the infinite, and it's really beyond this individual human identity and ego, and therefore cannot have a definition. I am is used to express a connection with the divine, the universe, infinite intelligence, God, whatever you want to name your higher power. I am is used as a way to create that connection. We are all connected. So going back to that analogy of the octopus that I used earlier in the week, we're all extensions of source. You can't define God. You can't define universe. So don't try to define I am. Instead, I'm going to invite you to give that I am part of you more reverence for its divine nature, because it is part of the greater, right? By not defining it. Let that part of you expand and evolve without any restriction. And that's really what it wants. It wants freedom. It's curious. It wants to know more, that part of you. And so by using the third person in your affirmation, you're not identifying yourself to specific conditions, because what might feel like a more expansive affirmation will eventually become limiting. And so this way, when you do it in the third person, you're giving yourself the freedom to adapt and to evolve and to later upgrade your affirmations. Remember, I talked about the $50,000, right? The next step would probably be more likely like around 150,000. And then after the 150,000, maybe it will be 250 or 500,000. So this way, if you refrain from using I am, then you can allow that part to grow and evolve. Okay. Just realize that you present different sides of yourself depending on the situation you're in and the people you're with. You're different with your partner, then with your coworkers, then with your parents. And then with your friends, you're different at home versus at work. You're different. These are different aspects of you. They're all facets of you, but no one part defines all of who you are. And so many of your limiting beliefs start with I am. Like I am too old, I am too late, I am not worthy, I am broken. When you say I am, you immediately create attachment and therefore limitation. And I want you to stop identifying yourself as these static traits that don't change. And it's because you create a box that you cannot get out of because it is airtight and locked. And so be more flexible. So just like with the train meditation on day one, where I had you recognize that your thoughts are not who you are, rather you're the observer of them. By definition, you can't be your thoughts. You can't be your beliefs if you can observe them. Do you understand that? So in the same way, I want you to create some space between you and who you identify as. Those qualities are just as easy to change as any outfit that you wear. And that's why you'll use the third person in your affirmations. The other thing that I want you to do is to use the verb tense in the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense is used to convey real-time actions and ongoing situations. So it's not past tense and it's not future tense. So a lot of people use future tense. You're going to use present continuous tense. So I'm going to give you some examples. So with each limiting belief that you have, you're going to write the opposite of that using that structure. Again, reminding you, third person, that should be really easy for you to remember. Instead of I am, Julie is. You're going to use present continuous tense as opposed to past or future, okay? So, for example, if the limiting belief is I'm too old, it becomes, if you'd like to use this, Julie embraces is the present continuous tense. Is the present continuous tense. It's in real time and it continues. So Julie embraces her ability to become a mother at any age. Sorry for those of you who are non-English speakers, non-native English speakers. Even as a native English speaker, I'm like, what the heck is this grammatical term? That's what it is. So instead of I'm too old, it becomes Julie embraces her ability to become a mother at any age. Okay. Another example would be, I haven't been able to get pregnant after trying for so long, so it's not going to happen. That gets turned into Julie, third person, trusts, present continuing tense. Julie trusts in the divine timing of her journey. Again, third person, her journey versus my journey, and remains open to the possibility of getting pregnant. And as a side note, don't look at the treatments not working as failure, or not getting pregnant in any particular natural cycle as failure, but rather as attempts. It's my first attempt. It's my second try. It's my third attempt. Reword it in that way. It's much more neutral than failure. Okay. Again, you really want to be careful about the words that you use. Another limiting belief would be I've had miscarriages. Maybe many. I've had one or more miscarriages, so I'm not capable of having a healthy baby. That's a very common one. That can get converted to Julie honors her body's wisdom and ability to have a healthy baby. She trusts that her journey will lead to a successful pregnancy. So you've got the third person, you've got the present continuous tense, okay? Another one would be my baby will be unhealthy because of my age. That turns into Julie trusts in the wisdom of her body and the potential for a healthy, vibrant baby at any age. All right. So you can see it's a little bit different than the way most affirmations are written. Most affirmations are from the I, first person perspective. I want you to change that. And then the tense is also very important as well. So I'd love for you to give you a couple of minutes to do that. And then if you get stuck on, for those who are with me live, and then if you get stuck on any of them and you want some help, then let me know and I'll try to figure out how to help you with it, okay? So another limiting belief is I could not have my baby. How can I have it now? And then another one would be after many IVFs, can I have it now on my own naturally? Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to work on that. And let me know if you need any help. Just tag me in the chat. And then after you rewrite them, I'd love if you can share. Yeah, the reason why using the third person is more effective than using the first person is because you are separating, you want to stop identifying with very specific traits or characteristics. You want to give yourself more fluidity to expand and evolve. And so when you identify with I'm doing this or I am that, you create this connection and this attachment to this I am statement or I statement. And so that becomes wiring. Whereas if you're doing the third person, it's a much looser connection. There's still identification with the third person because that's still you, but it's more distant. And so this way, as you change, you're going to be able to allow your beliefs to change as well. And so that's why you're doing the third person. Does that make sense? Can you tell again the positive affirmation about the age? Yes, so the one about to counteract that I'm too old. So then it would be your name. So Julie embraces her ability to become a mother at any age. Yeah, it does feel a little funny. It's because you're thinking about it in a non-traditional way, because most affirmations are in the I perspective, in the first person perspective. Yeah, that's perfect. So Julie trusts that her womb is open and ready for new life. That would be perfect. I'm using my name. So there's a comment about endometriosis actually does affect egg quality due to pelvic scar tissue and inflammation. I mean, that would be really severe endometriosis, really severe. You really don't want to make these correlations, because a lot of people do that. And the inflammation in the uterus, why would you make the assumption that it's going to affect the ovaries? You're creating a link that it just isn't there. And I didn't get to check the study. It doesn't have to affect the ovaries, because the thing is, when you connect with your body and you become more connected to your body, you realize, and my clients do this work, you realize that each organ, every single cell in your body has a consciousness of its own. And each organ has a consciousness of its own that's independent from you, the soul, who you are. So what's happening in the uterus does affect the other, because it's a closed system, but it doesn't have to affect the ovaries. And so you can contain it within the uterus and not allow it to affect the eggs. So that's what I mean of it doesn't need to have that linkage. Okay. Does anyone need any help with transforming, for those who are on live, with transforming any of their limiting beliefs? You're good? Oh, excellent. Great. Okay. Wonderful. Trust my hold on. The trust my body. So what would be the limiting belief? That you don't trust your body? Oh, but what's okay? So the limiting. Hold on. Let me read this. So the limiting belief is that you don't trust your body. Okay. And then all right. And then let's see what else is there. Because there's not much more to work with other than I don't trust my body. The reverse of it would be Julie trusts her body. So that's a pretty straightforward one. And then I'm going to talk about confirmation later. And so that would be like building an awareness of when you do trust your body. That's what it is, and I'll talk about that later. Can you do one about accept? Okay, so can you tell me what the actual limiting belief is, though, about the donor eggs? Because that will make it a little bit easier for me. Stephanie embraces that IVF doesn't have to go perfectly to work. I love that. This was around needing lots of high numbers, limiting belief. Yeah, I love it. Perfect. Stephanie embraces that she only needs one good egg and one good embryo to implant. I shouldn't say good, just Stephanie embraces that she needs only one healthy egg and one healthy embryo, leading to one healthy embryo to implant. Julie believes that she is able to get pregnant and carry a healty baby to term, regardless of her age. I wouldn't use despite. Despite has a negative connotation. Despite connotes that it's a problem. So regardless of her age, at any age, that's easier. Julie's ovaries are flourishing and make healthy eggs. Ooh, I love that. Yes, yeah. Oh, okay. So that your own eggs. Okay, so that so the limiting belief then is that your eggs aren't good enough, is what it is. Okay, so then you would have so you would have Julie trusts that her eggs are healthy and vibrant and vital. Trusts is going to be a common one. Believes would be a common one. Embraces would be a good, those are like good present continuing tense verbs. Julie trusts that her scar tissue will not interfere with pregnancy. Oh, okay. I'm glad you wrote that. Okay, so you don't want to frame it in a negative way. So the limiting belief is, okay, so if I'm going backwards, the limiting belief will be that your scar tissue interferes with pregnancy. Okay, so then you would frame it as Sabine trusts that her uterus, I'm assuming this, I don't know, wherever the scar tissue is, let's say it's a uterus, then Sabine trusts, sorry, Julie trusts that her uterus is ready for a healthy pregnancy. Like you wouldn't want to add in the negative part, if that makes sense. Julie believes that just because the last 3 transfers didn't work doesn't mean, okay, again, you want to rephrase that into a more positive. Don't bring in the negative situations, just drop it. So Erin believes that future cycles can work. There. Julie improves, right? I think that's probably a typo. Improves her egg quality through, whoops, that just went, hold on. Julie improves her egg quality through lifestyle changes. She trusts the wisdom of her body to heal, conceive, and give birth to a healthy baby. This is around a limiting belief that my low ovarian reserve and past poor egg quality were my fault. Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Okay. If I am already pregnant and, oh, congratulations, and have a secret wish for a particular gender to balance out it's already been decided, girlfriend. It's too late. If you're already pregnant, it's too late. The dice has been rolled. The soul has chosen. You're not going to be able to influence it. Yeah. This would be done previous to conception, previous to pregnancy. Casey trusts her body is healthy and her eggs are healthy. Everything is connected. Yeah, I love it. Okay. So that's awesome. So you got the hang of it. That's why I had you do this exercise here, because I knew that there might be a couple hiccups because it's worded in a different way. And because even with the traditional way of wording affirmations, there's usually a couple of hiccups. And the main thing that you want to be aware of is whenever you're doing affirmations, you don't want to put the negative scenario in your affirmation, because the universe isn't listening to the words, it's listening to the frequency. So like, what was it? What am I trying to say? So you just want to make sure that you're wording it in the most positive way without any negative influence in there. I'm going back to like one of the negative, trying to find it. Feel free to keep popping it in while I try to find it. Okay, so, all right. For example, here's one. Julie trusts that her scar tissue will, Julie trusts that her scar tissue will not interfere with pregnancy. Universe doesn't hear not. It's just because the essence of that statement is scar tissue will interfere with pregnancy. When you strip it down to the core emotion and frequency, it's the fear that scar tissue will interfere with pregnancy. So you want to eliminate that completely away from affirmations. Same thing right below it was Julie believes that just because the last 3 transfers did not work does not mean that future cycles can't work. First of all, don't use the not, because it's hard for the brain to really kind of understand not the negation phrases, because it leaves too much room for interpretation. You want to be very precise about what it is that you want to do. So, like with kids, okay, so you tell kids, what is it? You're in a candy store. Like, so you take a kid into a candy store, right? And they start grabbing the candy and stuff. And then you go, don't touch that. And then, so they stop touching it. And then they start touching like this other jar of candy. Technically, they're right. They stopped touching it. They followed your directions. They just moved over here. So instead you would say, kiddo, keep your hands at your side. So that's very much more precise in terms of directions. You want to be very, very precise in terms of what you're telling to the universe. And this is where the wording gets very important, is because when you use not phrases and not words, it just leaves so much room for interpretation. And so you want to just get to the core. What is it that you mean? What is it that you want? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay. Oh, yeah, I just want to reiterate the other thing with the genders. It's too late by the time you're pregnant. You're not going to be able to change the gender. And then if you aren't, and I said this, I think it was yesterday, and if you're not pregnant and you're still on the, you're still trying to get pregnant, I really encourage you to just drop the gender sex thing if you don't have any kids right now, because you just want a healthy child, right? I mean, I'm going to imagine and presume that any healthy child will do. If you put a restriction in terms of sex, it can create a bit of a block. Okay. So regarding your comment about just needing one, I'm trying to get on board. Regarding your comment about just needing 1 egg, 1 embryo, I'm trying to get on board. As of this morning, I have 2 beautiful embryos developing in the lab. Awesome. And I know the eggs were good quality this time, so I embrace it could really work. Fantastic. Okay, great. Awesome. So I think you are more clear about how to rewrite your limiting beliefs, transforming them into affirmations, into positive statements that counteract the negative beliefs that you identified yesterday. So that's going to be your assignment today. These affirmations should reflect empowering and positive perspective. So avoid using the not phrase, not this and this, or not ... And then a reminder, write it in the third person and use the present continuous tense. And I would recommend that you read them out loud first thing in the morning and the last thing at night before you go to sleep. When your mind is more relaxed, it's more open, it's more malleable to this reprogramming. In the middle of the day, there's too much going on. when you're first coming out of sleep, there is a whole lot of resistance going on, and then at the end of the night when you're going to bed, you're usually pretty tired. So oftentimes there's relatively a lot of resistance as well. So it'll sink in deeper, and it's also a great idea to do it first thing in the morning to help anchor in your day and set the tone. And then last thing at night is good because then you're drifting off to sleep with these positive affirmations, and your mind can get working on it as you're sleeping. So that's why I recommend those two times of day. Okay, and speaking it out loud is more effective than speaking it silently. Okay, and then say thank you. Say thank you to the universe and God for helping you to co-create this vision. It's always a good idea to thank. Okay, they're always there to help you, but it's always nice to acknowledge them. Okay, I also recommend that you keep a confirmation journal, or if you already have a journal started, then you designate a section to note down any signs or synchronicities that support your affirmations or that your baby journey is getting brighter and more hopeful. Because the more confirmation that you see, hear, feel, touch, taste, whatever, an experience in any way, it's going to help anchor in the new upgraded belief, right? You're creating confirmations, you're creating proof for yourself, and a lot of times these are very subtle, because as your external reality shifts, it's very subtle in the beginning, and so people get discouraged because they don't see it. But the more that you write it down, the faster it'll come, and the more noticeable it'll come. It's just that when you don't notice it and the universe is trying to give you signs and stuff, and they're like, well, shoot, she's just not seeing any of them. Why am I going to keep bothering kind of attitude, right? They're going to just keep giving you the same things or not as much. So you want to really pay attention to, a lot of times it's just how you feel. Often it comes down to you feel better. You wake up more excited, more joyous, more happy, more peaceful, whatever it is. Right? You don't spend in a funk for as long of a time, or you don't go into a funk as often. Those things are worth noting down. And that's often what I do with my clients, because I often have to point out to them where they were when they first started with me as compared to now. And they're like, oh, and they completely are oblivious to it. And so there needs to be like a written record of it. Like it's easy for me to see because I can see the progression, but because you're in it, it's hard to see. And so you need a little bit more of an objective point of view by writing it down. Okay. Let's see what else. So when I say proof, hold on. Sorry. Julie's womb is a warm and healthy place for her baby to thrive. Love it. Julie is the perfect age to conceive and have a family. Love it. Yeah, I love the word thrive. Thrive's like one of my favorite words. A proof for an affirmation. Yeah, proof for an affirmation. Because as you start saying them out loud, things will start to shift. And so again, the proof can be initially just how you feel. It can be that you start, I don't know, I mean, it's different for I love butterflies. So I attribute synchronicities to more butterflies. And numbers and stuff, whatever is meaningful for you, it's going to be different for every person. Oh, it could be like a song comes on. Oh, this is really common. A song comes on, and then the title or the lyrics are like, oh, holy crap, I was just thinking about that, or this really affirms what I want to believe. That's proof. So it's going to come very subtly. If you're on social media a lot, it's probably going to come in through social media. I'm on YouTube a lot, so my confirmations often come up because they're like, oh, this is exactly what I needed to watch. And that's proof. And so you want to be really aware of that. What is the meaning of butterfly? For me personally, and again, it's different for every person, it's a metamorphosis. It's transformation. So for me, it's very meaningful. For a lot of people, it means the same thing. And typically here where I live, it's usually monarch butterflies that we see. And so when I see like an unusual butterfly, then I'm like, oh, I love it. I get so excited. Like I have on my, this one on my iPhone, like I saw this so if you can see this, oops. So you can see this is not I don't think it's a monarch butterfly. It's another butterfly, but it just came out of the chrysalis. So it must have just hatched and stuff. And so, and then usually when I'm walking on that trail, I don't usually have my phone, but for what, I think I was expecting a call. And so I happened to have my phone to be able to take a picture for that. That's freaking synchronicity. That's flipping synchronicity. I'm like, that's a sign. So I took a picture and now it's like the background on my phone. Let's see, what else? My body remembers how to give birth and create. Again, you might have joined later, but we were talking about using third person. So I would, and using the present continuous tense. So when this recording is released, if you can watch that part, that'd be great. I was told by an intuitive healer my next baby was giraffe energy, and I saw giraffes like 4 times yesterday in books, pictures. Yeah, that's a synchronicity. You jot that down. Like that type of stuff, you gotta like really have fun with, be curious about. Just like, oh, this is great. Most people are just gonna like brush it off as like coincidence and stuff. They're not coincidences. They're the universe trying to give you some signs, and whether or not you notice it, it's totally up to you. So the more aware you are of it, then the more you'll more direction you'll be given. And then you give gratitude and you say, thank you for affirming this. Thank you for sending me this sign. Please send more. I love seeing this. So send more. So that's what you would do. All right. Cools. Excellent. So tomorrow, we are going to wrap up for our final day of the challenge. It'll be day 5. So please bring any questions that you have, and I invite you to share your experience over this week as a result of the work that you did with me. And so, yeah, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Let me see if there are any last things. See the signs? Yep. So good. All right. Thank you so much for coming. We shall see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone.